Hi, good morning. So I pulled a couple of cards for the collective this morning. My question was aimed at what is something that the collective is struggling with today, that we can maybe offer some insight or assistance with. And the cards that came out are the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. And what this is telling me is that you may be feeling like you are ready to start up like a new creative project, or perhaps you're looking into starting like a new routine or something like that. Taking kind of action on something that excites you, but you're nervous because you haven't necessarily been able to remain like steadfast with like routine changes in the past, and you're kind of just thinking to yourself like, okay, I've wanted to make like big changes in my life before, but I've never been able to stick to that routine, or I've never been able to stick to that schedule. And it kind of just sounds like you might have a lot of like fear and doubt about starting something new when things maybe didn't work out in the past. And I asked what is something that could possibly help like guide you through this, and I got the King of Wands. And I think this is a reminder that you just have to start somewhere. And it's okay to make mistakes. Like, you're not going to be perfect right off the bat. Like, the King of Wands didn't become the King of Wands because he was just like born the King of Wands. You know what I mean? Like, he was first the Ace of Wands, and then the Five of Wands, and then the Page of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. Like, it took consistent like time and energy to become a person who could act like consistently on their like goals and dreams and aspirations. And that's what the Wands is. Wands is fire energy. It represents taking action, or maybe just the art of knowing when it's good to act and not act. And this is telling you that it's time to start that thing up. Like, this is really pointing to like a change in routine that you might be afraid to start. And it's just saying you just have to start somewhere. I know I get little messages like on the teas that I use, and it's something like I don't even know. It's just like taking one action is worth like 1,000 thinking about an action. You know what I mean? Like, you could think about actions for like years, but the moment that you actually decide to step out of your comfort zone and like take an action that you're not familiar with, like, you're gonna learn so much more than just sitting there and thinking about it. So I think Spirit's really like encouraging you in this case to step out of your comfort zone, take that action that you're afraid to take, because you're just gonna learn a lot from the experience. And like, it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to be new at things. That's the point of this whole life, right? Is to learn. So I'm gonna ask if there's any more cards that this collective could benefit from. I just want to say I feel for you, because I've totally been in this headspace before, like afraid to take action, definitely struggling with perfectionism. And I think it just took a lot of realizing that I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to be able to think through something entirely and then just execute it perfectly. Like, also, it's just not fun. It's way more fun to like pop on this camera and not really know like what I'm gonna get. You know what I mean? Okay, so we got the Stillness card. Interesting. I'm gonna ask for more guidance on this. More guidance. Okay, so what I'm getting from this card is maybe just because you set out on a particular path or you have a particular goal, it doesn't necessarily mean like that is the path you're going to be sticking with. Like the path could change a million times. I know people say this all the time, but it's really about the journey and the adventure. So you might think that you want to, I don't know, like land a specific job or do a specific thing. And it's like somewhere along that journey of like taking that action to get to that place, you realize, wait, maybe this isn't exactly what lines up with what I wanted. Like maybe it turns out to be something else entirely. And it's just saying, like, if you stay behind the gate the whole time, kind of like peering out, you know, wondering what's gonna happen if I step out of my comfort zone, you're not gonna learn, you know what I mean, from all these pivots. Like pivots happen all the time, things change all the time. A Knight of Wands. More, ooh, so many wands. So the Knight of Wands energy, it like represents somebody who's like quick, charismatic, is like taking action. They say that like it's somebody who could also burn out pretty quickly. And because of that, I think there's a real need and necessity to make sure that when you're taking these aligned actions, that you're not just doing like a million things off the gate, you know what I mean? Like, say you have like a fitness goal, right? And I know I've made this mistake 100 times where I'm like, yeah, my idea of fitness right now is like, I don't know, sitting on the couch or walking my dog or something like that. And you're like, no, I want to get ripped, you know what I mean? And you're like, I'm working out 5-6 days a week, right? And this is my new routine. Like, you're not going to be able to stick with that because it is so far from where you started. Do you know what I mean? So you really have to think about like, what is a sustainable action for you? Like if you have fitness goals and right now your idea of fitness is like pressing buttons on a remote. Okay, well, maybe start by taking a small walk. You know what I mean? And like slowly add to that. And not only that, but like enjoy the process. Like enjoy the small walk. It's not all about immediately getting in the gym or immediately getting ripped. Like it's all the things that you're learning along the way that become really valuable, like in your entire life's picture. You know what I mean? Because it's impossible to know exactly where you're gonna end up, right? Okay. Ingenuity. This is another card about perseverance. I think this is really speaking to things aren't going to be exciting all the time, right? Like just because you have this idea and you're excited about it, it doesn't mean that every single action is going to be excited, right? Like say you're setting up a website because you want to start offering like your services, right? But the process of setting up a website isn't like enjoyable to everybody. But those are still like necessary actions you have to take to get to the goal that you want to get to, right? So I don't know, this is like a big call for grounding and like being practical in the actions you take. Like start taking actions, definitely. But it's almost like you have to meet yourself where you're at, right? So it's okay to have big goals and big dreams, but there's like this concept in like language learning, right? So like say this is like your level, like your level 2 or whatever. If you are trying to advance in your language, you can't just start reading like level 4 material because it's going to be it's just going to be a waste of your time because you're going to struggle so hard trying to learn things. You have to step up a little bit to really get the most out of the learning that you're doing, right? You can't stay at a level 2 because then you're never going to advance, right? You just take that little tiniest step forward in order to reach these goals that are important to you. Look at these practical cards today. I'm going to pull an oracle card. This is the Sacred Cycles Oracle deck. It's my favorite one. Just to see if there's anything else. Okay. 13 moons. Look at all these mermaids. Number 10, which is really the number 1, and like that's all about starting things. Like, it's okay to start something. It's even okay if you don't see that particular thing out to its fullest, you know what I mean? But can't let fear get in the way of you doing the things that you want to do. So 13 moons says, I trust my inner wisdom. Immerse yourself in the wisdom of the old ways of tracking time. The 13 moons calendar reconnects you to the sacred cycles within the wheel of the year. This exploration of time holds the power to reconnect you with the intuitive experience of a life lived in close communion with nature cycles. This is a reckoning of your innate power, of your intuitive guidance that has never left you. You can rest assured that an abundance of inner knowledge resides within you now, awaiting your awakening and remembering. You're being called back into harmony with nature's rhythms to help navigate your current experience and soothe you. You may find comfort in exploring your ancestry back to the ages of those who may have lived in alignment with the lunar calendar. I love the lunar calendar. These ancestors hold keys to earth-based practices that will help reawaken and strengthen the inner power and wisdom that so dearly wants to be expressed through you. Open yourself to the old ways and witness the magic that comes through you. What do I know about my ancestors? What can I learn from them? So yeah, this is just another card about grounding and like the cycles of life. Like the Knight of Wands, right? You're not going to be all on all the time. You know what I mean? You have to have stillness, and you have to just be able to navigate like the ups and downs of your energies, just like nature's cycles, right? We're not in an internal summer. There's times for rest, there's times for action, there's times for harvest, right? And this kind of just reminds me of the way that I do look at the lunar calendar. So I love to set intentions like based on the moon. And to me, like the new moon is all about clearing out the old. And then after you've cleared out that old gunk, you reflect on, okay, what is it that I really want to accomplish, right? And you set those intentions with the new moon. And as we progress to like the first quarter moon, like that's going to be where you start to take those aligned actions, right? Those actions that reflect the goals that you have. And the full moon to me kind of represents maybe like a harvest, maybe seeing some of those actions come to life. And also, even if you're not exactly where you want to be, like by the time the full moon hits, just being grateful for exactly where you are, because the frequency of gratitude is so powerful in attracting your desires to you. And then when we approach the last quarter moon, reflect on the cycle and the seasons that have passed. Like, what are some things that you want to do differently within the upcoming cycle with the new moon again? And that's just kind of my take on that kind of goal setting process. That's so funny that this card reading feels like it's about goal setting. But anyway, I wish you the best in whatever it is that you're pursuing right now. I believe in you. It's okay to make mistakes. You're going to learn things along the way, and those lessons are going to be invaluable, okay? So I hope you have a great day.